So guys, welcome back to episode 3 of Guide the Raid, the podcast bringing you closer to your favourite content creators and streamers. Matt, I want to welcome you back. I know it's been a little bit of time since we were together. How are you feeling? What's been going on?
Yeah, I'm feeling good, Stu. We took a mental break for a bit, but I'm back now. We had a few issues with mental illness, health-wise, I guess you could say, and then PC issues, car issues, mouth issues, and just basically the universe telling me to take a break. But it's all good because I'm back now. So, with the delay, we're going to be pumping these out as soon as we can. I'm keen to get back into it. Today we've got Justin, TinbotCreative, so that's who we're going to be rating today. Anything you want to add on to that? How have you been, Stu?
I've been good. Been missing you. Been missing your content. Hasn't been many streams recently, but you're back into the swing of things now, so it's good to see. And hopefully, podcast-wise, are going to be coming thick and fast. We've got quite a few people lined up now, ready to go. Come out very quickly.
Well, with that being said, then let's jump into the podcast for today. G'day guys, Envy here, or Matt. Today we're on our Guide the Raid. We have Justin, TinbotCreative. Welcome. How are you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for having me. Super appreciate the invite.
Hey, no stress. It's taken a while, so I'm apologizing to everybody who was waiting for another ep, but we are here now, so thank you for joining us. Stu, good morning, mate.
Good morning. How are we, Matt? How are we, Justin?
Doing well.
Good to hear it. Justin, I'm going to start off where we start every single podcast off, to talk about streaming and content creation. So probably the first question that we like to ask is just how you got into streaming. What were your passions to get you into that?
Sure, yeah. I got into streaming probably because of the pandemic, to be honest. If I'm honest, like a lot of streamers have, right? I did a lot of digital illustration and did a lot of comic book conventions and things like that beforehand, under the same name, TinbotCreative. And when everything shut down, there was no more shows to go and like show off my work and like sell my work. And the best part of doing those shows is like meeting people and actually having conversations with them. And then through the conversations, you like develop some sort of rapport, and then they'll usually be more amped to buy and support your work. But I didn't have any of that. So I was like, well, I guess I'll just draw and post to Instagram and hope something comes of it. And then my friend who has been streaming for over 3 years said, you should probably just stream your art. Like, just get on Twitch and stream your art, and people will come and watch you draw and watch you do your thing. And I was like, no one cares. No one's going to watch me draw. And I like wasn't confident enough in myself that I could do something live that was going to be, one, interesting enough, and two, good enough for people to actually like enjoy it or like it or think that I was a quality artist. And it was one of those things where I was just kind of like, all right, screw it. I'll just take the leap and I'll try it out. And now I've been streaming art and games for a little over a year now. So it kind of took off in its own weird way, as streaming does.
An interesting thing there, and the sort of selling art and everything like that we'll come to later.
Yeah.
But probably the thing that stuck out for me in your answer there was your lack of confidence in going for that.
Yeah.
Do you sort of know where that lack of confidence came from?
Sure. Yeah,
I call it sort of a struggle.
I call it the artist's curse, is what I call it. Because like every artist or content creator always has that like feeling of, even after they finish something, even if they're really proud of it, there's always that looming feeling of like, is it any good? Is it good enough? And that feeling doesn't ever go away. And I think I was in a very different place mentally with my art and with streaming back then than I am now. I didn't have very much interaction with people online on social media. I'd post, I wouldn't get very many likes, I wouldn't get very many comments. Like, there wasn't much engagement going on. So I didn't see who would come and just find me on Twitch and start watching me there. I didn't see that being a thing. And so I tried a couple of solo streams, just to get my feet wet. Like, I draw on an iPad, and I had my iPad on my desk and my like camera over the iPad. And the thing about the camera over the iPad is it constantly adjusts because of the light. So the quality of the iPad was really bad. And I was like, man, this sucks. This was like a really bad way to stream this. And I think I had like 1 or 2 people come in, which kind of boosted my confidence a little bit. I was like, oh, people are here. Whether or not, I can't remember. They probably were family members that popped in from Facebook or something. But then I figured out how to actually project my iPad screen up onto the stream itself so people could see what I was doing. And I did a couple streams like that. And I had a couple more people come in, and I had a thought, and I was just kind of like, I hate doing this alone. Like, I didn't like streaming alone. I felt weird. It didn't feel natural for me because if I was ever on a stage, I'm used to being on a stage with someone else. And it felt weird being alone and just talking to no one. So there was that lack of confidence too, of just like, am I funny enough? Am I charming enough? Am I like witty enough? Am I talking enough? Just too many questions. And I thought it'd be cool to like have a friend come and draw with me, because I have a lot of artist friends. So it'd be cool to have a friend come draw with me. And so I started inviting my artist friends to come draw with me on those streaming nights, and they started bringing their fan base to the shows, because people wanted to come and watch them draw, and then they'd see the conversations we were having and the jokes we were doing, and then they would stay. Like, I'd show up the next week with a new friend, and the same people would be there, and it just kept building off of that until it was too much for me to handle doing a guest artist every week. And then it kind of turned into this show, and now I have a guest artist once a month, and it's just, yeah, it was never planned to be like that. So I think the confidence was always low, and it's only risen because of just what's kind of manifested from that. And I keep it real. I try to keep it real. Like, I talk about my lack of confidence. People sit there and they'll tell me like, you're so talented, you do all this different stuff. And it's a weird thing to hear, because there's still that little monster in the back of my head that's always like, nah, try again, buddy. Try again. Like, it's not happening. And I always make the joke. People are like, oh, dude, you're so talented. You have so many skills. And I'm just like, all of these skills, and nobody knows who I am. It's taking me nowhere. But like, what's nice about it is the community that has built up from it has been amazing and super supportive. And I couldn't ask for more. So I just try to put on a show, like a good show for those people who come in.
I do have a question in regards to your stream times, because you don't stream every day, right?
No.
You don't. And you stream what, 3 times a week?
I stream 3 times a week. I stream on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, and usually pretty late for me.
Yeah. And so do you feel like... So for me, for example, I try to stream and usually have streamed at least 5 days a week. And I feel like if I didn't stream the rest, that it was going to affect my viewership, like that people wouldn't want to come because I don't stream as often. So do you feel like that has ever given negative result to your stream by streaming less? Or do you feel like it's worked out better by streaming not every day?
I don't know any different, to be honest with you. When I started streaming once a week. Because I have 2 kids, I have a wife, I have a full-time job, like outside of all this stuff. So I was like, how can I fit this in? This is like my zone out time. This is my time to get away from the real world. I'm checked out. I'm playing games with my friends. I'm drawing. I'm doing whatever I'm doing. It was basically a social outlet for me, because I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't go meet people, right? So it became that social outlet, and I was like, once a week's cool. Like, my wife can manage once a week where she handles the kids and I get to hang out with my friends. And then as it started to grow, as the community started to grow, as I started to grow as a streamer, it was really like her that was kind of like pushing me. And she was just like, do another night, do another night. I was like, okay, well, what do we do on Friday night? And she's just like, yeah, she's like, I'm tired, so I'm gonna go to bed on Fridays, or I'll watch my like soap opera dramas or whatever she's watching, like her doctor shows as she calls them. And so that's like her Friday night, and then my Friday night's like, cool, I'll play games. And then I started doing this thing where I had to learn 3D animation for work. And I was like, when am I gonna find the time to do that? Like on top of all this other stuff I got. And she was like, pick a night and maybe do it on Mondays or something. Like stream it on Mondays. That'd be cool. Stream you learning how to do 3D. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll call it Motion Mondays. Because like all my streams have like a stupid name. Every day has a dumb name. So Mondays were Motion Mondays, and I would learn 3D and try to figure out a 3D animation on Mondays. And then that had to end because I started teaching classes on Mondays for animation at a local college. And I was like, well, can't stream on Mondays if I'm teaching a class. So Motion Mondays died, and then I started streaming on Sundays instead because my viewership got used to 3 days. So what I did was like, I asked them, I was like, what day would work for you guys? Like, what day would you want to be here? And they were like, Sunday. I was like, sweet, let's do it. So now I have Monday, Wednesday, Sunday. Or sorry, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. I don't know what days are anymore. So yeah, that's kind of how it happened.
No, I only asked because I see your channel does really well with your viewers, but I've only ever thought about it in the aspect of everybody streaming for like I said, 5 days or 7 days a week. People who stream daily, man, I tried that for a while and it was exhausting, which is why I went to the 5. But even sometimes, like I think about it, like, do I change to like a 3 or 4 days a week? But then I'm worried that my channel's not going to do as good statistically in numbers. But then when I look at someone like you streaming 3 days a week who still does really well, it's nice to see. And your points are well, you know, it gives you a break, gives them a break, and things like that as well.
Yeah.
So
it also, like, I have a lot of friends who stream, and I don't ever want to be like, oh, well, I'm streaming, so the mutual friends that we have, like, they're gonna come watch me instead of them. Like, I'd rather like spread the love around. That gives me the ability to go into other streams and make connections with other streamers so that they'll come watch me and their communities will come watch me too, because then I'm streaming on a night they're not streaming and I'm able to support them, and then they're able to support me. But if I'm streaming every night of the week, it's hard because then I'm streaming while they're streaming. We're competing essentially, right? I also have the philosophy of it, like, there is such a thing as like too much of a good thing. If I was streaming 5 days in a row, I think I might run out of content. Like I might run out of things to do to keep it interesting. And I'm constantly adding new things to my streams to just try to up the ante. Like anytime a new inside joke happens, I'll try to make like an animation about it or like a funny sound clip or something like that so that people get it the next time. And we'll keep that joke going for a couple months until it dies out, and then I'll introduce a new one. Just to continuously try to keep it fresh. But like recently I just did like a complete overhaul on the stream. Like every like 6 months I'll do a complete overhaul. I'll just like redo all the graphics, redo all the sounds, like redo everything. So that when they come back, they're like, oh, this is different. And usually I can feel it. I can feel everyone kind of starting to wind down and like not really like say the inside jokes or do things like that. So when I start to feel it is when I flip and change everything. So when they show up, they're like, whoa, this is different. Like my new startup screens are pretty interactive now. Like I have this like TV setup where it's my logo that just keeps flipping through and it keeps changing to all my different characters on this TV screen. But what's nice about it is I have a mask set up so that I can like click my camera on and it looks like I'm in the TV, but it's a live feed. I'm just like, hey guys, we're getting started soon. I'll check you guys in a minute, and then it cuts back to the other like channel. That's what it looks like. So, and I took a lot of inspiration from that, from like, funny enough, like Disneyland, because when you're in a queue at Disneyland, the lines are always very, very interactive. There's always something to look at. There's always something to touch, and like, it'll do something, right? Like, oh, what does this button do? Pff, makes a sound or something. So I figure if people are waiting, I want to give that feeling. I want to give them some sort of feeling of like, oh, even this part of it is really interactive. So I try to keep the content up to make up for not having all the days.
Yeah, 100%. I suppose my question on that then, like, obviously when we watch your streams, like, the thing that stands out more than anything else is the production value of that stream. If you think back to when you first started, like, how long has that journey taken? I mean, obviously it's taken a year, but like, how much has it taken you to get to where you are now in terms of that production value?
Oh man. So I mean, obviously it's taken a good amount of money to invest into all the equipment, right? But I mean, it's even more than that. I think it's the investment and the education that I've gotten through the years of being an animator and an illustrator and like a motion designer, and constantly learning. Like so I graduated high school in 2005, and then I went to college for I wanted to go for animation, and then when I talked to them about what I actually knew how to do, they were like, "Oh, you'd be better at website design." And I was just like impressionable and young and went, sure. So I did that instead. And that journey kind of led me down a different path, but I kind of came back to, doing illustration and animation and stuff on my own, while making the money of a web designer, which was nice because it was like I was learning like multiple disciplines, like constantly learning multiple disciplines in tech. And learning the ins and outs of that definitely has had like repercussions on how my stream is and the production value of my stream, because I have all of that knowledge base from the last 15 years of working in the industry, to be able to take and put into this. And I used to have a strong love for video production. Like before graduating high school, I wanted to be a video editor, like a film editor. I've been making silly stories and like little, like anytime we had the choice between in high school, anytime we had the choice between making, like, taking a test, like if we had to take a test for some book that we read, I would always approach the teacher and be like, can I make a video instead of taking the test? Would that be cool? Like, I'll write a story, it'll be an alternate ending, like, can I do that? And they were always like, you can try, because they liked the ambition, I guess. And so I would always get out of having to do tests because I get to do the creative stuff. So now, like, Twitch is kind of the perfect platform to be able to combine all of those things and just shove them into one place. But I'd say it's the accumulation of a lifetime, really, like of my life, and then some money to be able to finally like upgrade the camera and upgrade the lights and the background and getting the green screen and then the microphone and all that stuff. So if I go back and I look at older streams, the production value is definitely lower. But like, it took a while to find my voice and find my brand for how I wanted to portray myself on stream. That's the thing I think that took about a year, was figuring out who I am as a streamer. Because at first I was just like, I'm just going to pop on and be the like cool, lo-fi, chill art guy. And that is not at all what I am now. Like, I am very much not that. It's very high energy, and like it feels more like it's hard for me to call it a stream because it feels more like a show now. It feels like some sort of television show, where like I'm always doing bits, or like someone redeems something and I'm like, oh, you know what that means, and it's like I feel like a clown sometimes. Like I'm not like an e-girl where I'm like, people are paying me to show like my bits, but I'm still an e-girl because they're paying me to do funny impressions. They're still going like, dance monkey, and then I'm just like, okay, cool, like dancing, thanks for the bits. Like, it's still, but it's fun and I love it. But it's just, I never intended it to get there, and I just kind of ran with how people were interacting with me.
What made you make that change then, to go from, like you said, the lo-fi art guy to where you are now? Like, it is literally night and day to where you are now. So is that just constant, listening to what people want, or was there a sort of path that you had planned out?
There was absolutely no plan, for sure. I can tell you that. It started out, I guess the plan was do art on stream so that more people are familiar with my art and I can grow my art business. And then it turned into me making friends with streamers that were also gamers and going like, man, I miss being a gamer. I miss playing games. I wonder what it would be like to play a game on stream. So I was like, what's a capture card cost? You know, snagged myself a capture card, plugged it in my PlayStation, and I was just like, let's do this. I love The Last of Us. I haven't played it in a while. Let's do this Last of Us thing. And then as I was playing Last of Us, I was like, how can I make this more interesting? Because there were like 2 people that would watch. And I was just like, how can I make it fun for them? And I've always done like silly impressions and silly voices. And I used to do comedy and that kind of stuff on stages. So I was like, I wonder if I could do voice impressions like while I'm finding like notes or in-game items just for fun, just to see what it was like. And I started doing this thing called Read That Note, where if you guys have ever played The Last of Us, there's notes all throughout the game, and you pick up notes and you can read them, right? So anytime I'd find a note, I'd let chat tell me, like, give me an impression or give me an accent or give me something, and I'd have to read the note as that person. So I was like, and they would start mixing things up. They were like, oh, do it like if Liam Neeson was a Valley Girl. And I was just like, okay, cool, let's try it. And then I would just do a really bad impression, and people started coming back for that stuff. So because they started coming back for that, I was like, oh, maybe I can start adding like little funny games and like bits into these to make it a bit fun. And from that point, it just started growing because I would start adding more stuff like that into it. And then I started adding that stuff into the art streams too. So now whenever I have a guest artist on, we do this game called Quick Draw, where if someone tips like a certain amount, me and the guest artist have to draw any character that person wants in somewhere between 30 and 60 seconds. Like we just have to like do a really fast drawing. And of course, me being the person that has to like have the fun production value, right? I had to go and make like an animation for whenever anyone triggers Quick Draw, like a full scene takeover happens and it's like, it's time for Quick Draw, and there's like guns that come in and start shooting off, but like it's just pencils. They look like pencils because it's drawing. So it's pretty silly, and it plays the like Clint Eastwood Wild West music, and it does all that, and it's campy and it's ridiculous, but I like figured if I can keep adding stuff that I think would be funny, then the people that do think it's funny are my people, and they'll come and stick around. And that was like where the plan, I guess, went and like kind of veered off. And through that, people have seen my art, and it's kind of grown into what else can I do that people will enjoy?
But I think it is a bit different to when I first found you compared to when I've watched your stream now. Like I've seen that whole quick draw thing happen. I've seen the voice impressions of like when you're playing Sea of Thieves and you reading the notes like a pirate, for example. So I've seen you do all of that stuff, and it's definitely something that makes you want to stay there and watch a lot more, see what happens next, or what's going to happen with the next node, or what's going to happen later down the line with another game, or all of that stuff does make you want to come back and watch and see what's going to happen next. And I think that's that feel good feeling that you're going to get, and that we're going to have that curiosity, like what is going to happen. And I think that curiosity makes us want to stay and watch. So I think it's definitely what I'm saying is your streams are definitely different in that sense from before when I met you compared to now. Like they are more high energy, they are a lot more interactive, and it's great. It's good. It's good for you. Man. It's a great thing for your viewers and your community. It's great, man. Honestly,
appreciate that.
Props.
Appreciate that.
Yeah,
it's getting more and more bonkers as time goes on. Like it started out with me just doing like voice impressions of celebrities. And now there's face filters, and now I have original characters that I've created that come on stream every once in a while. That was just me. It started from me like saying something stupid or funny as that face filter popped onto me, and now people are like wanting merchandise of those characters, and I'm just like, this is bonkers. Like you never start streaming thinking like, oh, you know what? Someday I'm gonna put on a face filter like a Snapchat filter that gives myself pink long hair and makes me look like a girl, and then people are gonna want that on a t-shirt. Like, it's just like, I'm like, that was never the plan, but that's kind of what's become of it. It's happening. I'm working on the merch. But yeah, it's just silly. It's crazy what people like. They latch onto it, and I think they form this bond with you, in a sense where it's different than any other show or entertainment that you could watch, right? Because the characters that I'm creating or the characters that I'm portraying can literally talk to someone who's watching, which is different than if you were to watch a sitcom or like Stranger Things or anything like that. Like, you can be invested in those characters, but those characters will never like break the fourth wall and look at the camera and talk to you. Versus I can like look at the camera and just be like, hey, I'm talking directly to you, person 74, like it's, and that's the coolest thing I think about Twitch is like you feel a connection with people. At least a strong enough connection to be able to wear merchandise that nobody else in the real world would ever understand, and they'd be like, what the heck is on your t-shirt? And you're like, oh, it's a full-on inside joke that no one else will understand, but I'm wearing it proudly because I get it.
Probably my last question then, when we talk about like, so we've talked about like the constant progression that your streams had, but you mentioned the money side of things. You've started the first day with like a camera pointing at an iPad, and then where you've gone from that, in terms of all of your setup, which obviously is part of your production value.
Yeah.
Where have you why did you make those decisions, or is it something that you're always thinking, let's go to the next stage?
Yeah, no. So I think for me, anytime I'm making like a hardware purchase or an equipment purchase, I'm trying to make sure that it's going to benefit multiple aspects of the different creative avenues that I do. So I do voiceover work professionally. I also write and produce my own music, and like a bunch of other stuff too. So I was like, if I can get this microphone, and I also teach classes online. So if I get this microphone right, it won't only just benefit the stream, it will benefit classes, it'll benefit. So it's like it's an investment that goes beyond streaming. Same as like when I upgraded my camera. Like my camera's stupid expensive, but like the only way that I could justify it was the fact that like my wife is like starting a blog. She's starting her own thing that she could also benefit by using the camera. I'm going to be shooting a lot more things for my actual day job. That's another benefit of having the camera. So any equipment that I purchase is always to benefit me beyond the stream, but also to be able to benefit the stream. So it's kind of like, what is the biggest bang for the buck that can help me in multiple avenues, I guess is what I do. And if there isn't, like, I feel like I'm at my cap now. Like I'm in a place right now where I don't need to buy any more stuff. There's no reason to upgrade anything. A lot of upgrades came from me running into an issue that I couldn't solve without hardware. And then I'd be like, well, what else can I use this for though? And then once I answered that question, I was like, cool. But if it was just for stream, it would be hard to justify, just because like you think about that money and you're like, well, that money could go into like food for my kids' mouths, or like the mortgage or whatever it is. But if I look at it as more of an investment, that's a tool that's going to be able to help me generate revenue across multiple avenues, then it's like, oh yeah, it's 100% worth the money, because then it's going to pay me back tenfold, because I get to use it with all of these things.
But I mean, that's a good way to think about it, because I've never actually thought about it in that aspect. Yes, I want to upgrade my stuff to the point where I'm happy and satisfied, like the whole Shure SM7B, like that's things that I've always wanted. Don't know if I'll make those purchases just because they're expensive, but I've never really thought about buying things and thinking of how can they benefit me outside of streaming. But no, I think that's a cool thought process behind it, and no, it's cool. Yeah.
Well, like, so for example, you Matt, you game way like more hardcore than I do, like as far as when it comes to like Call of Duty or any of the first person shooters, right? Like I'm garbage as a gamer. Like I am not I'm not, if there was like a tier 1, I'm not even tier 1. Like I'm just like, I'm there to just be a cannon fodder. Like that's my
stew,
my
basically.
strategy. Yeah, sure it was too. But like if I was to look at your keyboard and mouse, like my guess is your keyboard and mouse, you probably invested more money into those than I invested into mine, because I'm rocking like a Logitech that is like good for my day job, and like it's a Bluetooth Logitech. I hit 1, it goes to my PC. I hit 2, it goes to my work computer. Like it's not good as far as like play first person shooters and stuff. There's many a time where I'm playing like Siege or something, and all of a sudden I lock up and I'm like, what just happened? I'm like, oh, it just switched over to my other computer and I just died. Dope, that's awesome. And so like that's the stuff that I don't invest in as much, because that's not as important to me, because for me, I know I'm not going to make any, like, it's not going to help me any to have that. And I'm not trying to be, I know myself, and I know I don't have the time to invest in getting good at those games, which is why I don't have time to invest in the money to spend on better tools to do that. Right. So for me, it's like, I know I can get better. Like, I know I can get voiceover jobs, or I know I can produce music to benefit this video that I'm working on or something like that. Cool. I'll spend the money on that. But yeah, I think that's my mindset. And then anything left over, like what I do is anytime I get like a Twitch payout, I usually try to take that money, any money I make from Twitch, I try to use what I can to put into the equipment, so that it's like going back into the stream essentially. And it's not like going into my pocket. And then anything extra I try to take and just throw back into the community. 'Cause like, I feel like whenever I'm watching other streamers, they're doing me a solid by providing me entertainment and providing me with, you know, a safe space in a sense to kind of zone out and just tune into someone doing something that I'm interested in. So I should kick it back to them. Like they're essentially working, right? Like we're on the clock when we're on stream. It's weird to say it because like we're playing video games, we're hanging out with friends, we're doing that, but we are performing. We're sitting in front of people doing things. And it's different if you were in your living room, there was no camera on you. Like you can, you know, take your pants off, do whatever you want, hang out, like have chips and a beer and just be as messy as you want. But on stream, like we have to be on it. We have to be like, we have to abide. There's rules we have to abide by. There's things we can't say. There's things we can't do when we're on camera. And that's a performance. We have to perform. So that's why like, I know how hard it is to work, even if like a lot of streamers come up and they're like, oh man, I wish I had the production value views. I'm like, dude, it doesn't matter. Like you're still on, you're still doing it. You're still putting in the time. Like that's valuable. It doesn't matter. It's just a different show. It's just a different show.
Justin, if it's all right now, I'd like to move on to sort of things off Twitch. So if we can talk a little bit about your background. I know you mentioned that you're a video editor at the moment.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk about like sort of your experiences from work and how that's been brought into your streams and your content.
Yeah, definitely. So currently I'm a video producer for a tech company, and the tech company I work for creates software for mobile app designers or web designers, and the software we create allows people to kind of test out their designs without having to build them out. So if someone had a really cool idea for an app on your phone, they would design it out, but it would all be flat screens that you couldn't tap or do anything with. And normally you'd have to give that to an engineer or a web developer or some sort of person who knows code really well, and they'd have to like build it out in code. But with our software, you can put the flat static images into our software and just basically connect all the pages together so that you can test it out on a phone and see what it would be like if you were actually using the real thing. So that's what we do, and I'm on the video team. And so what I do is I create motion graphics for our products to like market our products and show off our products. I also do like educational type videos where I do voiceovers about our products and like talk about how they work and why they work and what they do. And then I also create content videos for our YouTube channel about just design in general. So like why people design certain things a certain way, or one of them is about it's called the 6 stages of the UX UI design process. And I go through and animate all of the work and showcase all the different stages of that, and then do all the voiceover and stuff. So my job is kind of crazy because I have to like write scripts, and then I have to do storyboards, and then I have to do voiceovers, and then I have to illustrate everything, animate it, and then edit it all together. So like one 3 to like 6 minute video can take like 2 months to produce because it's all animation. So that's what I do for work, for one of my jobs. Another job is I teach motion design for app development at a local art college. So I teach that course once a week to college seniors, and just kind of teach them why animation and motion is important in mobile apps and in web designs and in interactive things, and how you could influence people to kind of behave a certain way because of motion, right? Like I'm sure you guys have seen it before, where you go to a website and it's just like one big image, and you're like, okay, well, what do I do here? And then you see like a little scroll arrow that just like animates down. It says scroll. Like that's like a subtle thing telling you like, hey man, you can scroll down. It's cool. So like that's a way to use motion to get someone's attention. So I like teach a whole course on why that's important and how to properly use it without being obnoxious. And other than that, I have an illustration business that I run where I do freelance illustration, and I just create like fan art and just original art and other things, and I sell my artwork through that, which is also under TinbotCreative. That's kind of where Tinbot started, the name Tinbot. And then I also do voiceover work freelance professionally on the side as well. I do too many things, man. Like I'm probably not gonna last too much longer because I'm just running on fumes at this point. But and then I do other freelance stuff. Like I'll do freelance design and stuff every once in a while. But it's a lot of working for the company, and then a lot of freelance stuff on top of creating stuff for stream. But I think what's cool about my work is I learn a lot. I learn a lot of new techniques about animation. I learn how to speed up my workflow very often, and I learn just a lot of new different stuff. And I'll use that and apply all that stuff to when I'm creating content for stream, which is really nice. So like before, like I'm starting to make YouTube videos now, and before I would just kind of do it off the cuff and not really know what I was doing. Don't really have a plan for it. But because of how I have to be so on top of it at work, I plan everything out at work. Like you have to plan out the storyboards, you have to plan out the scripts, you have to plan out everything in stages. I use that same workflow now when it comes to creating content for my YouTube channel or Twitch or anything personal to me, and everything works out way better, and the production value is way better because I've like thought about things more, and I'm not just doing it off the cuff. Everything just seems a bit more professional when you have a plan.
Does a lot of your community know what you do outside of Twitch as well? Because even I didn't realize that you had such a busy life outside of streaming. And I think to the normal eye, I would just assume that you stream when you do, and the only reasons that you don't stream any other times is because you're working full time or you have your family. And I wouldn't assume that you had all of these other things that you did on the side.
Yeah, I honestly don't know, man. Someone texted me today asking how I find all the time to do all this stuff. And I literally just said, I don't sleep, or I sleep very little. Like my day starts at probably like 6 or 6:30 in the morning. And I have to be at work by 7. But luckily I work remotely. I work from the exact spot I'm sitting right now. So it's a really long commute, like from upstairs to right here. Like the gas miles are garbage. So I walk from up there to down here at 6:30 to 7. It takes me 30 minutes to get down the stairs.
Traffic.
And right, this is a long staircase, you guys. My legs are huge because of how many stairs I climb every day. But so I start my workday at 7. My workday ends at 3, and then I like kind of jump in with the family from 3 till bedtime. So, you know, do the daughter thing, hang out with them, take them to the park, let my wife get like a minute so that she can like go be a normal human without having 2 little like gremlins on top of her all day. And then around like 9 or 10, I'll jump back on and either stream or work on freelance stuff. And sometimes when it's like voiceover stuff, I have to do that on my lunch break. So like don't get a lunch break. And I have up in my closet is outfitted to be a little like sound booth room. So upstairs, and I don't know how I convinced my wife to let me do this, but we have like a tiny walk-in closet, and there's like a little section in the walk-in closet that I was like, can I turn this into a sound booth? And she was just like, can I have room for my clothes? And I was like, yeah, I'll just set them up over here. You'll be totally good. And I'll use this section. And she was like, I mean, if I have room for my clothes, I'm chill. I'm like, cool, let's do it. So I like have blankets. There's just like blankets everywhere up in there with foam pads everywhere to block off the sound. And then I have a microphone, like a condenser microphone coming out of the wall. And I have a setup so that I can put my iPad up on top. Because I don't know if you guys know this about iPads. It's pretty cool. If you have an Apple computer, which I know you guys are PC boys, but if you have an Apple computer, you can actually use your iPad as another monitor, and it's a wireless monitor, which is really nice. So I have my iPad up on the wall, and what I do is I'll just project my scripts up on the wall. So I'll hit record down below on my laptop, and I can just stand up and just stare straight at the monitor and just read off the script. Because before I was having to do this, I was like having to talk like that and like look down at a screen, and the audio quality was garbage. So I learned quickly to change that. So that's like my setup in my closet upstairs. And it's funny because all my clothes are behind a blanket that is like pinned up to the wall. So I have to like take down the blanket anytime I want to get dressed. but it's worth it. So yeah, like my days are stacked constantly. But yeah, the people in the community, they know that I do a lot of stuff. Just because like it gets brought up, or they'll ask me about the voices I do and stuff like that. And I think ultimately the goal outside of streaming and stuff, I think the dream job for me would be being a voiceover actor would be the coolest thing. Like if I could get a voiceover gig in a video game, or a voiceover gig in like a movie or something, like I think it's so cool to like watch an old cartoon from when we were kids, and then I got older, and like I'm the weirdo that like research who all those people are, and I like if I can hear voices, I can recognize voices really quickly, even if they're putting on an accent or something. I'm like, that's so and so, that's so and so, that's so and so. I know it, and then I'll look it up. I'll play a little game. I'll look it up on IMDb, and I'll be like, it was them. I knew it. Got it right. Called it. And then my wife just like eye rolls, and she's like, yeah, you do it every time. But like it's fun. Like I love the aspect of like being able to be an actor and like doing voices and stuff, and still being able to go to the grocery store without being stampeded, you know? Like I'm behind, no one knows me, like you just know my voice. I don't know if you guys have seen the woman who does Bart Simpson's voice. She's been posting stuff on YouTube, which is pretty funny. She just like goes around and she'll just start talking like Bart to people. And people are just like, oh, that's a really good Bart impression. And they have no idea that it's her. And she's like, no, I'm Bart Simpson, man. And she like hands them her card, and then they're like, oh, and they freak out. And like they have no idea. And I'm just like, that is so awesome. Like I would love to be that level famous, to where I could like people know who that character is, but don't know me.
I suppose it's difficult to find the motivation. Where do you get your motivation from to be able to have those jobs, to be able to run a successful family, to be able to, you know, run a stream and everything like that? Where's your motivation come from for that?
So I was actually talking to my wife about this not very long ago. And I think it's this weird anxiety-induced thing inside of me. If I'm not being creative, if I'm not creating something, I feel really stagnant. I just feel off. Like I've always been someone that's had to create something or make something new, or make a silly animation or do something. And if there's ever a time where I'm not doing that stuff, like, and if you were ever to talk to my wife about it, she can tell you, she knows exactly when I'm in a bad mood, because that means I haven't been creative in a while. Like it's just weird. Like I get anxiety if I'm not actively working on something, if I'm not drawing, if I'm not, playing music, if I'm not streaming, if I'm not doing something that lets my mind drift away from stress, then I have nowhere to put that stress. So it's like, I guess it's a double-edged sword if you think about it, because it's like I create a lot of stress for myself because I'm doing so many things, but then I can't relieve the stress unless I'm doing so many things. So I'm like in a constant loop of just trapped. But it's that's the motivation. The motivation comes from just like this weird need to feed that beast, man. I don't know. It's but I mean, even playing video games, I feel like I get creative, like I'm doing something, I'm accomplishing something. Because while it doesn't benefit me in any way, like financially, it's still benefiting like the serotonin levels in my brain. Like it's like, even if I go play Sea of Thieves or something, if I'm playing a game where I'm not accomplishing anything for a long time, like I won't play anything. Like I won't play that game. Like I haven't played Sea of Thieves in a while because the last couple times I played it, I've spent an hour and a half on like finding some treasure, and then right at the end of the hour and a half, some freaking jerks come in and kill me and steal all my treasure, and it just makes me want to flip a table because I'm like, I spent an hour and a half of my life, I can't get back. But like, if I'm playing Siege or something, then like every round you're either succeeding or losing, so at least something's being accomplished. But like a lot of those games, a lot of the survivor type games, like I can't get into, like 7 Days to Die and things like that, where I'm just like, I feel like I'm doing chores, like Valheim. I'm like, I'm cutting down trees to build a house, and then I'm gonna go collect all these stones so I can build a hammer to kill the trees to build a bed. I'm like, why am I working while I'm playing a game? Like, I don't want to. I'm doing this so that I don't have to work, and you're putting me to work. Like, what's happening right now? So those kinds of games I usually stay away from, because I don't want to work if I'm playing a game. I want to zone out. But yeah, that's where that motivation comes from. Is just the constant need to create and to entertain, I guess.
One of the things that probably strike me about your life, I suppose, is the parents and elements of that, and how you manage to do everything that you do and still, have your family and do everything like that. How much, when you sit down and you separate everything that you've got, do you have like a level of priorities of what's most important that you work through, or is there anything that you have to sort of cut corners on?
I think it all depends on timing. I'm also really lucky to have such a supportive wife who's like constantly having my back on stuff. Like she's the type of person where if like, let's say for instance, this podcast that's happening tonight, if she was like on her deathbed tonight, she'd still be like, no, don't reschedule, go do the thing. Like, go do that. And I'd be like, you can't even lift your arms. Like, what do you mean? Like, I got to be here for the kids and you and stuff. And she'd be like, no, like, you need to do this. Go do it. And having someone in your life like that has your back constantly is definitely a huge pillar of why I'm able to do what I'm able to do. And I would do it. I tried to do it for her too, but she's really stubborn and she just wants me to do all this stuff. But I think that's one element. But I mean, if I'm being real, I drop the ball all the time in the course of all of these things. There, at a certain point, you end up taking on so much stuff that you're bound to drop the ball or forget about something. Like, I've gotten to the point where I'm like, oh my gosh, do I need like a personal assistant? Because I can't keep things straight. Like, to the outside eyes on stream and things like that, people might be like, how does he do it all? But like I'm scraping by. It's just it's all about time management and how you decide to use your time. And I decide to not sleep. That's like my choice, is to not sleep, and that's why I'm able to accomplish this stuff. But you know, there's certain hours, like if from like 7 to 3 I'm at work, from 3 until like 9 o'clock I'm with my family, and then any time outside of that is this time, is time to work on stuff, it's my time. But like a lot of people use that time to sleep, but here I am almost 11:30 at night, almost midnight my time, and I'm just like, yeah, let's get on, let's do a podcast, let's talk about stuff, who cares? And I know you guys are waking up early doing this stuff too for you, so it's, you know, it's that same kind of thing. But I mean, always 100%, like, and I've told my wife too, my family comes first, like they're always priority. So if there's ever a time, and there's been streams where I've had to just be like, I've started up stream and I hear my wife like struggling in the background with my toddler, and I just hear her kind of like having it, like, because some days you can only handle so much, and I hear her starting to break. I hear her starting to break down and like really struggle, and I'll run up there and be like, I'm ending stream, I'm gonna come help you, like, and of course her, like, bless her heart, is always like, no, I don't want you to do that, like, your community's there to watch you, like, go do what you're gonna do. And I'm like, nope, like, sorry, but like, they'll understand. And to me, if I woke up tomorrow and I didn't have a stream at all, I guess like if I had to choose between my family and a stream, like, my family's winning every time. So you know, it doesn't matter. It's kind of like, it's one of those things where it's like, do these 1,100 people that are following me mean more to me than my family? And like, no, sorry, like, I love all of you guys, I love all of my followers, I love it, but it's like, those are my people that I created. I literally brought them into the world. So, or I mean, I had something to do with it. At least so they say. So, I'm just going with it. But you know, if I had to choose, it would be them every single time. So that's where my priorities lie. But because I have such a good support system, I'm able to not have to make that tough decision. But if that day ever comes, and it's inevitable, I don't think I'll be a streamer for the rest of my life. Like, I can't imagine me sitting here being like, oh, what is hey 42, EnvyTheKiwi, oh, good to see you, buddy, hey, who are we gonna go raid, let's see who's on, you know, like, I don't see that being a thing. But like, at some point, you know, so I'm just enjoying the ride for what it is now.
Justin, we'll probably just wrap things up. So this is your section now. So talk about anything you want to talk about what you've got going on.
Yeah.
And where the people can find you.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me again. I really appreciate it. You guys can find me all over the internet under TinbotCreative. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok now, because now I'm one of the cool people on TikTok. So you can go watch me doing TikTok things. Yeah, there you can find me there. I'm on Twitch at TinbotCreative on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, every day at 9 p.m. Pacific time. On Wednesdays, I do art streams. So on Wednesdays, I will have a guest artist at least once a month. And if there is no guest artist, I'm drawing something by myself. On Fridays, I call it Friendship Fridays, and I have a bunch of streaming friends on, and we're always playing multiplayer games together and creating a lot of really silly, hilarious moments. At least they're hilarious to me, and that's all that matters. And on Sundays, I do this thing called Storytime Sunday, where I play a solo story game. And right now, we're going through a story game, and once we finish that, we'll go on to another story game. I won't say what story game it is, because by the time you're seeing this, I'm probably done with it. And then I just started creating music again for the first time in like a decade. Because the funny thing about creating music is it's really hard to do when you're happy and in a nice relationship. When you're in a bad one, it's really easy to write about. So I started writing music again, and you guys can find me on Spotify, Apple Music, and all over the streaming platforms under the name Tinbot. So right now I have 2 songs uploaded, and I'm working on a third, but I have a total of 6 songs. So eventually, maybe by the time you're even seeing this, all 6 will be uploaded. So yeah, so that's what I got going on.
And all of the links will be down below in the description. Links to absolutely everything that you can find Justin on.
And again, yeah, thanks for your time, man. I know it's taken a while for this one, and I do apologize again. That's my fault, but thank you for still making the time for us.
Thank you for taking the blame, because I was really upset about it. It was my fault I thought it was my fault for a really long time.
No.
I'm joking. I'm joking, guys. I'm joking, you guys.
Typical Matt went missing. Don't worry.
No.
Sorry, I tried the whole strategy of walking blindly down the road and it disappeared for 2 months.
Hey, see, that's the problem, is you didn't find anyone because you did it in a pandemic, so no one stopped you because they didn't want to touch you.
Right. Yes.
You can't do it in a pandemic,
That must have been
bro.
the reason. Okay, my bad.
I'll send some American ladies your way.
Yes, yeah.
There you go. But no, seriously, guys, I
absolutely
really
perfect.
appreciate it. Thanks for having me. It was a blast talking to you guys and getting to know you guys more too.
No, 100%. And thanks for coming on and giving up your time. I know, obviously, time is precious to you at the minute, with everything that you've got going on. So to give up a couple of hours for us is absolutely amazing.
Anytime.
Right, so we'll wrap things up there. Hopefully, we'll have another podcast coming very soon. It'll probably be a couple of months once we can find Matt again after his walk with his eyes shut. But fingers crossed it'll be coming soon. So thanks again for listening. Hope you've enjoyed it. Make sure that you're subscribed on YouTube for more content coming very soon. If you are listening on Spotify, make sure that you followed as well. Perfect. Say good night, Matt.
Good night, Matt.